Let's just get rid of this. Why? Why? Why are you doing this to me? Purge my video game collection? Good fucking idea!
No.
Hello everybody, my name's Matt and welcome back to the Retronomicon. Today's topic, breasts. I mean Lara Croft. I mean Tomb Raider. That's the one. Yes, the massively influential heroine of gaming was often defined by her polygonal assets, but luckily the series certainly matured with the Square Enix published reboot of the series. But back in the 90s, despite her sexualised status, she was a true icon of forward thinking in gaming and popular culture in general. She became a big player in the game industry's transition to 3 dimensions, and for a lot of people in those early days was a new paradigm in adventure platforming. These days, everyone and their nan knows who Lara Croft is. She's world famous, and her adventures spawned a literal fuck ton of sequels, spin-offs, as well as other wider media such as books, comics and films, with Lara being famously played by Angelina Jolie in those god-awful adaptations from the early 2000s, and again by Alicia Vikander in 2018. Never saw this one. I'm sure it's fine. Today's video is going to examine her very humble beginnings on the PlayStation 1, the original Tomb Raider, released in 1996, and developed by the original team at Core Design, as in Core, look at them tig bitties. My first exposure to Miss Croft was way back when I was about 7 years old. Now, maybe it's because I lacked the attention span at that ripe young age, or because I've always had the brain of a sodden towel, but this game was a struggle for me. It was frustrating. I wanted to progress. I wanted to learn more of the game's secrets and solve the puzzles, but fuck me, these graphics. Even back then when this is all we knew of 3D environments, I couldn't tell what was simply decoration and what was emerging out the fucking walls at me. I revisited the PlayStation version of this game about 2 years ago, and I often revisit the same save file, slowly progressing each time through the giant labyrinth-sized levels. So as well as doing an overall review in this video, to honour the 25th anniversary of the series, I will be doing a second part to this video where I'll be beating the final levels of the game and completing it once and for all. Now, visually, the game may have aged as gracefully as a 75-year-old coal miner on crack, yet even as an adult in 2021, I can certainly see the appeal that this game would have had on mature audiences back then. Patience and planning are key to success in this game. Doing something as simple as jumping from one ledge to a fucking other was a whole process that required intimate knowledge of the controls and mechanics. Because, well, one wrong move, and Lara's fragile polygonal body is broken, bloodied, impaled, crushed, mangled, torn apart by rabid animals, drowned, or cast into a fiery lake of the 7th layer of hell by freakish fucking demons. Part 1. How to play. With Lara's help, we're going to start this video with a rundown of the controls.
No.
Yes, you are, Lara. You're going to help me, you fucking bitch. Okay, so first off, Lara has terrible interior design taste, with the horrible floral carpeting and the shit-stained walls. Oh, and I guess that's supposed to be books. Like, I guess. And a bucket just plonked there in the middle of the room. Ugh, graphics aside, I hate this room.
Okay, let's do some tumbling. Press the jump button.
So square is the jump button.
Now press it again and quickly press one of the directions and I'll jump that way.
And pressing a direction on the D-pad while Lara is squatting for said jump makes her jump in that direction. Seems simple enough. Anyone familiar with the original games will know that you don't have the same fluidity of movement like in games nowadays, so your jumps in this game have a set distance and a whole animation for Lara to do.
Ah, the main hall. Sorry about the crates.
No need to apologise, Lara. I mean, they're conveniently here for you to make your next point. Fancy that. So let's just get on with it.
Run up to a crate and while still pressing forward, press action and I'll vault up onto it.
We quickly went from apologising for the boxes being there before giving your guests instructions on how to safely jump on them. Weird. But yeah, you can do that. Although Lara does seem to have a bit of a whimsical attitude to health and safety.
I don't actually run everywhere. When I want to be careful, I walk.
I stand corrected.
Hold down the walk button and walk to the white line.
Lara can walk to ledges so as not to fall off them by holding R1. From there, jump forwards holding X while in the air to grab onto ledges. You'll be doing this a hell of a lot, so it's good they put in this practice mode. The other complicated part is getting a run up.
Tap backwards to give me a run up. Press forward and almost immediately press and jump until the last minute.
Remember the steps to the process, you'll be fine. Walk to edge. Okay. Stop. Okay. Tap down once on the D-pad to get some distance. Okay. Now hold up. Okay. Remember to press and hold square immediately. Okay. Hold X in the air. Okay. Grab ledge. You have to do this a lot, yet it's more complicated than fucking brain surgery. The more technical stuff includes shimmying along ledges when hanging, yeah, that's technical, as well as dropping backwards off ledges to grab their edges.
As well as dropping backwards off ledges to grab their edges.
What this incompetent fuckwit over here doesn't teach you is that you can also handstand from ledges and swan dive your jumps by pressing the walk button at the same time as the other buttons. That's R1. The handstand from the ledge and the swan dive are basically useless though. They're really just for show, although I must say I find these animations really cool for the PlayStation 1. Actually, her not teaching you that has a certain charm to it, as if the game intentionally leaves room for you to experiment and discover new ways to move her. Something which doesn't happen too often in mainstream games today, which, as most gamers know, like to shove a bunch of tutorials down your fucking throat. Better yet, this whole tutorial stage in Lara's house is completely optional, so I respect the game respecting my intelligence.
So I respect the game for respecting my intelligence.
Lara also leaves out that you can press the circle button to do a quick 180-degree turn, and will allow you to avoid being surrounded by enemies. This tutorial sequence ends with a quick swim in the pool. My god, she really does like to splash the cash, doesn't she? Good news is this isn't technical. This is hold square to swim, but, well, at least something is simple.
Right, now I'd better take off these wet clothes.
Oh, come the fuck on, guys, really? The game hasn't even fucking started and you're getting weird with it. Wait, that's it? She's not going to teach her how to shoot stuff? Fine, I'll do it. Unbelievable, this rich cow. So you could press triangle to draw your weapon, and then X to shoot shit. How do you aim, you ask? You don't. Instead, the developers opted for an auto-aim feature that sucks balls. Part 2! The fucking game! So from this opening cinematic, we see some kind of alien artifact fall from the sky. At a hotel, Lara is visited by annoying southern fuck over here Larson.
Creator of all things bright and beautiful.
But he's just a representative of Natla, some mysterious businesswoman that apparently likes to Scrooge McDuck it with her cash on camera. I'm sorry, Lara, but this bitch is immediately untrustworthy. Whatever happens, it's your own damn fault. Anyway, Lara is told by Natla to recover a piece of the Shion that fell. That's what it's called. It's called a Shion. I can't even say it. And we catch up with Lara making her way to a desolate cave in the snowy mountains of Peru. Led by what appears to be a Peruvian native that says nothing. Maybe there's a reason he's forgettable. My god, Lara, are you not cold? All you have is this ridiculously thin-looking poncho in this weather? She's just wearing her usual togs underneath. Fucking lunatic. Anyway, so some wolves show up and oh, just like that, Lara's already removed an item of clothing. She must be fucking freezing, Jesus Christ. So Lara gets a sudden unquenchable bloodlust for killing these wolves and manages to finish off the native accompanying her. When she gets started playing the game, you notice the game's blocky presentation of its environments, but most of the time, I think this has a certain nostalgic charm to it. I mean, this was still far and away one of the more competent executions of 3D space for the time, except for, you know, this shit. What game? What's blocking me? Oh, for fuck, off to a good start as usual. But while the graphics are certainly lacking by today's standards, they aren't too difficult to adjust to. Except for, you know, when Lara starts tripping balls to the fucking walls. So pretty soon you find yourself shooting your own wolves, and it's kind of fun, I guess. The game focuses not on your ability to shoot necessarily, but on your ability to keep moving and avoiding being hit. So doing cool jumps around the room as you shoot feels pretty nice. But while all the shooting is done for you, the game locks you onto enemies automatically and then you just keep firing with the X button. The only real thing you have to worry about later on is ammo conservation of your more powerful weapons, such as shotgun, magnums and Uzi. These weapons are incredibly useful for dealing with some of the other enemies in the game, some of which will overwhelm Lara in large numbers and kill her very quickly. To change your weapon and use smaller large medipacks to replenish your health, you need to press select to open the menu and select an item. Some might criticise this, but I actually found this to be quite thrilling, as you often go to the menu to heal and swap weapons whilst in the fray. So what you get is a certain tension while you're in the menu. I often found myself breathing deeply before unpausing again and deciding the best way to react to the situation I'm in. As well as the aforementioned wolves, there are a variety of other animals and monsters that you'll have to shoot. To name just a few, there's bats, bears, lions, gorillas, velociraptors, and T-Rexes, some douchebag on a skateboard, a cowboy, and a bald guy? You thought I was kidding. No, these characters, for want of a better term, are mercenaries for Lara, who betrays you and tries to take the Shion piece for her own evil plan. Well, who would have thunked it? Not this bitch, clearly. Anyway, in stark contrast to this backward ass shit, towards the end of the game the enemies get quite horrifying, as you're chased after by these inside out looking things that hatch out of pods on the walls, and some of them even fly. Fucking horrifying. Fucking burn it! Burn it with fire! I guess they're supposed to be the aliens created by Lara from the alien artifact or something. I don't know, man. You spend so long navigating all these huge levels that you've forgotten what little story exists between them. Also, some may disagree, but I like the absence of music, except for the dramatic stings when you enter certain rooms, usually a sound that indicates an intricate puzzle, dangerous enemy, or finding a secret. Otherwise, the complete absence of music lends itself to the feeling of isolation and makes the atmosphere tense, as if you were really raiding a desolate tomb. Some of the sound effects are questionable and sometimes incredibly grating, like when Lara runs on gravel ground and I feel like my eardrums are being sandpapered. But overall, the sound presentation was quite ahead of its time and is really atmospheric. Not to mention, of course, Lara's voice acting in-game.
No.
And pretty decent music when it does actually play. But then perhaps that's just my expectations being lowered after experiencing Gex. Also, some of these rooms in the levels are huge and take ages to navigate, so I wouldn't want some music loop irritating me as well. That said, you still often have to spend a long time running around in circles, figuring out which of the angular walls are scalable, finding all the pieces to a puzzle, and then having them all fit together. Like here, there are some walls that look like you can climb them, but often you can't. Also, it was here that I noticed that you have some awful frame rate issues, but what can I say? This was 1996, and these guys were really pushing this little console. Anyway, running around these levels get quite tedious, and with this being an early PlayStation game where you could only use the D-pad to move, you'll find yourself wearing out your thumb whilst getting frustrated at Lara's clunky movement. In fact, everything in this game takes a while, something you'll notice a lot more in the more complex puzzles, like moving boxes or stones to make platforms for yourself. Lara's pushing animation takes fucking forever, and only moves the thing a set distance. I often found myself sitting there saying, come on for fuck's sake, get the fuck on with it. This was by far the most frustrating part of the whole fucking game for me. So, overall, the game is as impressive as it is a pain in my ballsack, but we're not done yet. I can't give a game as legendary as Tomb Raider a fair retrograde until I've completed it, something which I've never done. Join me next time in the second part of this two-part review, where I'll be completing the final levels of the game before handing down my final verdict. In the meantime, subscribe!